Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My apologies for my slightly croaky voice. Yeah, it's a little bit coldy, but anyway, I'll do my best to just basically share with you what I think um, is of interest to share. Um, I've been thinking a lot for various reasons about grief. In my previous video, quite a while ago, I talked about the feeling of being behind that many people are experiencing, and which I actually happen to think that is kind of endemic to I don't know to humans because we fall behind and we feel behind on anything that we're working on, that we're working towards, that is ultimately only self-serving, right? That we have a kind of a fixed image um, about in our heads, and we actually need for that to fail in order for us to get to the real thing. I want to read a quote to you by Leo Sidran. He's a singer that I've been listening to a lot recently and I love it. He says, "Nowhere to go, no way to get there. So for now, we survive and it might be slow, but don't forget that it's all right. It's all right. It's all right." And I kind of, yeah, just kind of love that because, when we think about dealing with feeling behind, how we can, well, affect so many of us, how it can be also used as a resource for redirection, right? How it can wake us up to more pressing, to real needs in the world with which we must be aligned. Then, if we're lucky, the initial, let's say, disappointment caused by life not meeting those self-serving demands, as it were, will get us to search for more sustainable, way more sustainable options, ultimately more genuinely inclusive of other people, even if we don't actually realize it at the time. So we become more appreciative of what's in store for us, and we don't hold on as much to a past that didn't work out or a future that turned out to be a bit of a pipe dream. This is part of the essence of both personal and collective transformation, which some embrace more willingly than others. We all know it's not easy. On the whole, humans actually haven't pulled it off quite yet. And of course, there's nothing easy about crossing an inner desert, with mirages along the way, resembling old patterns, old appetites that just set you back just like that in the blink of an eye. So, the way out, we could resign, we could maybe fall into bitterness, but the way in is to, is to push through the pain, right? Sometimes just being with it for as long as it takes, and then indeed transform. There is grief, in this process. And I want to talk about that. I don't want to get morose, but I do want to just reflect a little about it. Mark Twain, said, "Nothing that grieves us can be called little. By the external laws of proportion, a child's loss of a doll and a king's loss of a crown are events of the same size." Fascinating quote to think about. So let's just say that transformation contains grief and grief contains transformation. It could all take a lifetime or several, right? So we have a possible sequence. In my case, I feel the stuff, I rebel, I kind of scream on the inside, I deny it, I sink. Point number two, second stage, I realize there's no point in rushing, I just let it be there, I don't deny it anymore. Stage three, I allow it to go if that's the deeper impulse. I might be somewhat deprived, feeling somewhat bereft. Eventually, that state fades away. So I need not do anything, just kind of be with it, right? And allow it to go if, as I said, if that's the impulse. Stage 4, back to basics. Walks in nature, breathing, music, walking, dancing, all of that. Stage 5, journaling, which is a big deal for me, journaling my way through a situation. Sometimes I actually can go straight to that, and my mind respects it when I do that. The following stage 6, would be insights, breakthroughs, calls to accept and then to act. And finally, stage 7, relief, right? I kind of get a glimpse of the big picture and I think, how could I not see what I now do? But I realize it's a stage where I was not at previously. It doesn't always happen in this order by any means, but I just thought it was just I thought it would be useful to frame it like this. Marcel Proust, another quote, he said, "Happiness is beneficial for the body, but it is grief that develops the powers of the mind." So we can call it a sustainable practice, I find. Sustainability is about having the patience to make sense of things, honor the cycles, trust the rhythms. And, we may gamble in life like it were a casino, but the ensuing chaos is no arbitrary slot machine. It's the right chaos for us with mysterious patterns waiting to be decoded. So it's anything but random, right? The messages in these patterns, they totally suggest that we evolve. Of course, risk and danger are part and parcel of any true transformation requiring an act of faith. So, I'm not going to go deep into that now. Let's just say that, fearful anticipation of what may happen is a baggage that we can make lighter by leaning into a small gesture. In other words, making little changes here and there that don't shake us up to the core, but nevertheless symbolize our willingness to give it a try. So it's those little sweet unknowns that eventually propel us into more adventurous unknowns, into more adventurous lives. Meanwhile, as far as I'm concerned, I seem to be riding the waves of grief with the impatience of an aspiring surfer who is learning to swim. Such is life. I'm armed with a pen, the surfboard, in my journal. When I'm out at sea, I play acrobatics with words until my mind gives me peace, and I'm managed to float on calmer waters. William Shakespeare said, "Give sorrow words. The grief that does not speak whispers the heart, the overfraught heart," he said, "and bids it break." So I give it words, I give it sentences, I sculpt pain into the shape of a text. I remember Susan Sontag saying somewhere that inspiration came to her in the form of anxiety, a creative resource, quite like grief, ideal for writing. And in a sense, it induces a state of labor, right? Rebel what you want, agonize all you need, and eventually give into the page and write. Not all rebirths require this, but many do, I'm afraid, including some of my own. My mind often finds itself mid-delivery. Not fun, it's not light, it's not human, almost. Such beginnings sometimes just don't feel like beginnings at all. I actually experience them as ends, as devastation, as absolute free falling. But at some point, there's nothing to fight. It's like exhaustion takes care of allowance. It's an enabler of allowance. And what appeared merciless now proves miraculous. So it's we realize that it was an all loving endeavor all along, a glimpse of heaven on earth. Anyway, I meant to keep these kind of on the short side, and I hope this was interesting or useful in some way. And there's a more, hopefully a little more coherent, more structured version of this in my newsletter. If you don't know it, you can check it out at projectnuno.substack.com. And otherwise, if you wish to support this channel, feel free to like, subscribe, all of those things. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Take care.